Good afternoon. My name is Adrian,
And I'm Chelsea.
and on today's episode, we are going to be talking about Jerica Hamre. She is a 31-year-old mother who disappeared in June of 2024 in Lincoln, Nebraska, and has not been heard from since. Please call it a suspicious circumstances that she disappeared under. And after our research, Chelsea, I have to agree that there is something in this case that just does not add up.
Something don't sit right. There's not a lot of information. Everybody's really quiet.
The people that more than likely would be directly involved are radio silent. Radio silent. But let's do a little background story. It seems that in her early years, she had some difficulties, and her parents have custody of her children. That's a part of this. Not the reason she lost them, but that they have the custody is part of our story. So we want to just clear that out. We're not going to discuss the reasonings why her parents have custody because we do not know them. And it looks like she was really trying to get her life back in order. And from everything we read, she seemed to be doing a really good job at the time of her disappearance. Another background story is that a few days prior to the last time she was heard from, she had gone to the hospital after being assaulted by her roommates, 2 females and a male that we have learned's name is Jeremiah. Do not have a last name. And she went to the hospital, had a double concussion, a broken nose, multiple bruises across her head. And Jerica is only 5'1". She may be 245 pounds, but she's 5'1", with brown hair, brown eyes, and glasses. That's a tiny person who, I mean, that's just a very tiny person. And to have that much damage, it took multiple people to cause that.
Agreed.
Though she did choose to not press charges, so.
Which, that's suspicious for me, too. That just goes to explain the situation that she was living in and everything else around her, because when you don't press charges in things like that, there's something else going on. There's usually a fear there of something else, retaliation, some sort of something could happen. So
we do know from Facebook and social media stalking that the male roommate had asked her to leave either that day or the day after, prior to the disappearance. She wasn't able to move out that night. She didn't have a vehicle, so she couldn't leave. And when she went to the hospital, it was 4 miles back to the residence, and she walked that entire route.
with a double concussion, I'm not sure how long she spent in the hospital, but there were other comments about the hospital allowing her to leave with a double concussion, especially alone.
Yep, there was a lot of those comments. We did find out through social media that allegedly the male roommate had a wife and was using Jerica, and that was a point of contention in their relationship, speculatively. We can for certain say that the last time she spoke to anybody was on June 25th, and that she missed her visitation with her children on June 29th, and that's when her parents became super suspicious. The last time her father spoke to her was on Father's Day. His quote said, "She had sent me a message saying, 'Happy Father's Day, love you,' and kind of went into detail how she was getting her life back in order and she had a job that she just loved." And that doesn't sound like somebody to me who's just going to up and disappear.
No, and if you check Jerica's social media pages, she does have a recent post right before this happened that she was excited to see the girls on Saturday. So the fact that she just didn't show up, that's, reason to believe why this stuff is so suspicious.
And In one of the news articles by KETV, they had tried to arrange final arrangements that morning of June 29th with her, and they didn't get a response, which was unlike her. She normally responds rather quickly. They tried calling her, no response to the phone, tried to text her, Facebook message, just nothing. Now, something that is constant in the social media posts about this case is she was always active on social media. She was part of the social media generation, where we came along right at the time social media was becoming a thing. And so she was glued to it. TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter. She was glued to these, and she has not, since June 25th, has not made a post on anything, not responded to a message, read a message, done anything on social media, and her phone is turned off. Like, it kept going straight to voicemail, which was very unlike her. And if you look back on her social media, she made like 10, 20 posts a day of different memes and things like that from just basic searching. You know, we found that information. So that's suspicious. And in my opinion, that is number one red flag. Red flag. And on these posts, it seems like it's family members and a few friends. Her friend Nevaeh?
Yeah, I think that's how I pronounce
Nevaeh
it. Very pretty name.
Bennett was the one to make a post on one of the missing people's pages on Facebook stating like that, showing a photo of what she looked like when she was walking home from the hospital, that she had been assaulted. And there seems to be quite a growing of suspicion towards the roommates, and the public views of the comments of people who don't know the situation firsthand are also making a lot of statements that they believe it's the roommates. And then some other people are coming out with like, hey, he knows something. The alleged ex, or the alleged wife of one of the roommate, the male roommate, made statements on Facebook that she believes he knows something and that he would lie through his teeth to the police, and that he was hiding out and changing his story about what happened multiple times. But the fact is that the police have nothing to go on. There, at one point we read, canines found a scent in the Arapahoe, Overton, Holdridge, and Lexington area in Nebraska. And they covered a farm called River Lodge Outfitters just outside of Overton. They extensively searched that area for 2 days?
2 days.
2 days, and found nothing.
Which is nerve-wracking. River Lodge Outfitters is right there off the Missouri River, guys. Just lots of water bodies.
Lots of water. It's scary. And the fact that nobody's heard anything from her. We know CSI did go inside the apartment via social media sleuth. That they went in there and they did examine and they did talk to the roommates. As of right now, nobody has been named a person of interest. Allegedly, there is somebody, but they are not releasing who it is at this time. They are very, very encouraging to please contact them. Any information you may have, no matter how little you think it is relevant in this case. That number is 402-441-6000. It is up on our screen directly below the Police Need Help Finding Missing Person. We have put their number there for you. A direct quote from the police is that 2 days prior to the disappearance, or alleged last being heard from, that she reported being assaulted, didn't press charges. That came from Jerica Thomas, the Lincoln Police Information Officer. She was officially reported missing on July 3rd.
Yeah. We talked about that.
We do have alleged information that the male roommate was on parole at the time and went into hiding. I just kind of want to give my opinion. I like to present the facts too, but I want to give my opinion on this. As a mother myself, you couldn't keep me from my kids. I would do whatever I needed to do to make sure my kids knew that I was okay. I would never want them to think something wasn't okay with me if I had a way to prevent that. And there's been no activity.
I was thinking about that myself. Like, this case hits me in the specifics because, you know, I have my own history, and not being able to be with one of my children. And I got to thinking, I'm like, you know, maybe did she let the guilt eat her alive? Did she just take off to try to get away from situations so she could focus? You know, there was a point in time in my life when I did do that, but completely leaving without telling a single soul that you're okay, it's just not something people normally do. I took off, I disappeared, but I disappeared from who I needed to disappear from. You know, the people that I loved, I couldn't do that to them, and I don't see Jerica doing that to anybody either.
I can honestly say, based in something you said earlier, she had made posts about how excited she was to visit with her daughters that weekend. You don't set up that type of visitation. And people don't do that. Mm-mm. At least for not this long. I mean, if I can't make it, it might be a couple of days or something, and I may say something, but I have a difficulty believing that for 8 months, we've been sitting here in limbo for 8 months with nothing. And I know that you had mentioned after that 2-day search, we had talked about this, that the police told her parents that they don't believe that she is still alive at this time. Because if she was, she would reach out to somebody and just say, hey, I'm good. Hey, I'm okay. Mm-hmm. Hey, don't worry, I have to disappear right now, but I'm okay. Mm-hmm. And this has been radio silence. She's just so out of character for everybody who knows her beliefs, because I have read multiple Facebook posts. We missed you. We love you. Like, contact us. Are you okay? Why aren't you reading my messages? Why aren't you responding? Why is your phone off? And some of the comments are on the harsh side too. Mm-hmm. That it would be very difficult if she was harmed to move her body, to hide her body.
Yeah, but didn't that comment say something about it would take 3 people to move
2-3 people to move somebody who's completely dead weighted them at that's 245 pounds. It would be a very difficult move. And one thing we can for certain say is that nobody has come forward saying they saw her leave that residence. Mm-hmm. There's no camera footage. She literally did not leave being seen again. And that is sad and that is terrifying. And I want to hold out hope. I want to hold out hope that she is okay. Like, her little girls need their mom. And they miss her. I'm sure they miss her. And there's just a lot of feels in this, being moms ourselves, and knowing that, like, nothing would keep me from messaging my kids if I was able. So that tells me right there something suspicious, something malicious happened to her. I cannot imagine what type of person would want to harm somebody who was actively trying to get their life together. I cannot imagine what type of person would want to harm somebody trying to do well.
It really is a dark world out there. There's a darkness out
there. There is a dark cloud over this case that is hanging in the winds. And I am hoping that her family and her friends are able to get answers. Because that's all I would want if it was me. I'd want my family to get answers. I'd want them to know. And that would be my entire...
Right, like, we can't stay silent anymore.
Like, yeah, we can't stay silent. I would want them to know something. And the fact is that we don't know anything. To try to get away from... And that would be my entire... So I think what this comes down to is a few pretty black and white things. One, if you have any knowledge or have seen her, maybe you didn't think it was relevant. Maybe when you did see her, you were like, I don't know if that is her. Report it. Absolutely report it. If you have cameras and you live in the area of where she was last seen, which was in Lincoln, give me 1 second. I will get you the cross streets. Just 1 second, guys.
There's your map.
Her birthday's passed since she disappeared. She was last seen at her home near 35th in Huntington in Lincoln on June 25th. So 35th in Huntington in Lincoln. If you live in that area and you've lived in that area for over the last year, and you remember this location and you're like, I know who that is. Did I see her? Let me think about it. Let me make that report. Make that report. Absolutely make that report. If something did happen to her and you know something, please report it. If you've heard rumors in the area of something happening and maybe a location of where that happened, let them know. The police can only go off of what they can find. The police can only go off of what people tell them. And this mother of children deserves some justice in this world. And like I said, I'd love to keep the hope that she is alive, but based off it being 8 months, it would be very difficult for me to truly believe that nothing malicious happened at this point. I don't think this is a case of somebody running off, disappearing. I think something happened, and I, as I'm sure other people, would like to know what. Mm-hmm. Any final thoughts on this, Chelsea?
I don't think so, man. Other than driving to Lincoln myself and just looking around. I can't.
Yeah, this is one of those, like, I would love to go and do a search party and try and find her. Unfortunately, I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound a little berating towards our news channels here in town. They didn't cover this very much. A few articles here and there, a few news stories here and there. I found most of my information on this case via social media that was posted by her friends and family.
Right.
The news covered very basics and just say, hey, we're still looking for her. Hey, we did this search. Do better, guys. Like, when you have somebody missing, do a little better. Like, let's make sure that their picture is getting out there. Because the news articles weren't like they were back-to-back, day-to-day. Like, for other missing cases, they weren't like day-to-day or even week-to-week. It was like, there was months.
There's like a total of 4. Like, when she went missing, and then when they searched for her, and that's really it.
They did, like, within the first, like, month or so, they did a couple of interviews with her family and friends. But that was it. And they were short pass-through articles, and I want us to do more justice for her. Like, let's really rally, let's get together, and let's try and find her. And if you have any information, I cannot emphasize this enough, call the number on the screen.
Yes, please
call the number on the screen.
Law enforcement could probably have answers already, but without the public and their help and their facts, they probably can't move forward. We see that a lot, and I pray that the cops know something more than we know. That's the only thing that makes me feel better with all this silence.
And like we kind of covered in Touch Base, a lot of the suspicious stuff in this case came through via social media. A lot of it. Specifically about allegations that the roommates may have involvement or knowledge. So if you know them, ask them to come forward too, with any information they have. And like we've said, this is all speculation and alleged things that these people have posted. For certain, she's been missing since June. She's left behind 2 daughters.
She has 3 children.
Three daughters. She's left behind 3 daughters. Sorry, that was my mistake. Her parents miss her. Her family misses her. Her friends miss her. They don't want to live in this what happened mindset. So let's give them the story. Let's tell them what happened to Jerica. They deserve that closure. Or they deserve to find her. If you know where she is, encourage her to reach out.
Exactly. Jerica, if you're out there and you're watching this and you're just hiding because you're terrified, send a sign.
Send something.
Anything to let your family know that you are okay.
There's resources out there that can help you. And we want to bring light to that. We want to bring light into helping find you. And if nothing else, bringing you justice and your family closure. Any questions, please reach out to the Lincoln Police Department, 402-441-6000. That is all for today, folks. Till next time.